You are a celebrity stylist extraordinaire,
Well, thank
fashion
you.
expert,
Thank you.
the editor-in-chief of Kontrol Magazine, all-around businessman.
Yes, sir.
How? How did all this happen? Because I'm just in awe of you right now.
Honestly, it was a blessing by God. It was not supposed to be what it is. I was a designer, and I was working at Cheesecake Factory, and I used to reach out to like Essence and Ebony, and never could get anybody to respond to me. So one day I sat down in the booth and was like, "I'm gonna start my own magazine," and it just kind of popped up and blew up from there.
Wow. Well, were you always into fashion and that kind of
Yeah, I've been into
style?
fashion since like fourth grade. I used to design and sketch, and then decided to go to fashion school. Came up here, was supposed to go to the Art Institute in Atlanta, but then when I got here, they had closed the department. They were like, "You should go around the AIU around the corner." I was like, "Okay." Walked over to AIU, liked the school, decided to go.
That's amazing. So,
Yeah.
you're from Florida,
Originally, yes,
originally from Florida.
yes.
So, being that you were the type of boy that go out and sketch and draw, and you were into fashion. How was that growing up in the South, and how was that accepted growing up?
Well, I was originally raised in Florida, then I grew up in Statesboro, Georgia, which is still south and small. People looked at me weird. Nobody really understood it. I don't even think I understood it back then. But I used to create and keep these big, thick notebooks, and I still have some of them, of like my sketches and stuff like that. And I had this friend who lived behind me, and her name was Monica, and we used to make little comic books almost of women wearing clothes and different things and clowns, and just kept them and just kind of went from there.
Yes, that's gonna be worse on one day.
From your mouth to God's ears.
I know that's right. So, with this industry, there is a lot of input from the LGBT community and, from the Black community. I mean, we kind of, both of those communities kind of join forces, into one and kind of set the trends.
Correct.
Do you think being a Black gay man has served you as an advantage or a disadvantage in fashion?
I would say a little bit of both. It serves as an advantage because of that, I am keeping up with a lot of the trends. I do know fashion a little bit more than some of the people who are not gay or in the LGBT community. But at the same time, I do think sometimes it puts a stigma on me as a wardrobe stylist. I feel like a lot of clients, or especially in Atlanta, want me to be, and I'm not that.
Yeah.
So, it plays on both sides, I think.
Do you think that's like the most common misconception you have? Like,
I think so. A lot of clients will come to you and expect you to be this overly flamboyant guy, or they want you to be just really over the top, and I'm not really over the top. I'm real subdued. I'm real quiet, kind of keep to myself. That's just not who I am.
so my question for you is, because I know you have just a litany of great experience. Like your resume is like it sparkles. Like when I look you up on the internet, like it does. I can literally hear Baby Angel singing when I Google you. And
Well, that's a blessing.
you've worked with fashion icons like Little Kim, Toni Braxton. Like I want to know, what is your proudest moment in your career?
My proudest moment in my career. I would say my second year out the gate, I was in People Magazine with Toni Braxton. That for me was absolutely unbelievable. It was a miracle. It was, to this day, it still takes my breath away. Like, it's still one of those things that I look at and I'm still in awe, because when you think about it, it's People Magazine and it's Toni Braxton. It's like living legend Toni Braxton. So for me, that's I think probably the biggest thing that's ever happened to me. Yeah.
Awesome. What were some of your pitfalls or roadblocks getting to where you are now, especially being a man of color of the LGBT community?
I would say some of my most, or some of the roadblocks that would really kind of stopped me were other people, family and friends. this industry is so difficult that people don't really understand what it takes to be in this industry and to be a part of it. And coming into it, I had no advice. I had nobody to tell me how to do this, how to do that. And so I think one of the things that really honed in were everybody had an opinion. Everybody around me had an opinion about you should do this, you shouldn't do that, you should do this or you shouldn't do that. And a lot of it I had to really kind of hone in on my own and take my own advice. And, if I fall, I fall. If I, succeed, I succeed. I think those were the biggest things that actually really pushed and kind of stopped me a little bit. People be coming to me and saying, hey, I don't think you should do this. People told me not to do Toni Braxton, not to do the Braxton Family Values.
Wow.
That would have been the biggest mistake of my career, I think, if I would have never did it. So yeah, I think that was one of those things that really kind of honed in. People really just kind of telling me what I shouldn't do and what I shouldn't do. And I don't think, if you're not in the industry, you really can't give advice on what you should do and what you shouldn't do. And then at the same time, I don't even think there's a wrong or right way. I think it's just your path.
It's very true. This whole project, to me, I mean, a lot of things inspired it, but the fact that we are in the midst of the Black Lives Matter movement and that, we are still continuing to fight for LGBT rights, especially with the horrific shooting that happened last year at the Pulse nightclub in Orlando. I want to know how that affected you, especially being from Florida.
It really hit home. I was actually in New York when it happened. I forget what I was in New York for, but I was in New York for something. And when I heard about it, it was crazy. It was like, I was kind of afraid because I was like my family, my friends. And then I just couldn't believe that people would actually still kind of do this. It seems unreal. It seems really unreal that in 2017 we still are plagued with this.
Yeah. Well, seeing that, we are still facing a time where people of color and their lives are put in danger, and just coming from that incident, do you yourself have any fears?
All the time. Every time I step out of my house, get in my car, I'm driving down the highway, I'm always thinking, am I going to be stopped? How are things going to affect me? So I make sure that I kind of just handle myself differently. I make sure I pay attention to what's going on around me a little bit closer than normal. And I just make sure that I'm doing the right things so that I don't get stopped, so that I don't have situations, come at me. And at the same time, I kind of keep myself kind of closed off a little bit. I'm not where I try not to be where I shouldn't be at certain times, or I just try to take care of myself for the most part.
Now, you are, as we've covered, very successful. Your name is always out there, as at least what I'm seeing.
Well, I appreciate that. I don't always feel like it's out there, but no, I'm happy with it. My career is going where God wants me to be.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it's going up, and it's continuing to go up. So
Thank
I
you.
want to know from you personally, what would you say to other young men of color who are also LGBT, people? What would you say to them who are also afraid, have fears of walking out their house, and they're kind of at a loss right now? How do we survive and thrive in today's world, especially in Trump's America?
In Trump's America. I say be true to who you are. The biggest thing is you have to love yourself first. You can't expect other people to love you when you don't love you. So I'm really big on knowing who I am. I'm really big on knowing my self-worth. I'm really big on knowing that I love myself no matter if somebody else says they love me or don't love me, if somebody else decides to walk out of my life, family, friends, whatever. I have a sister right now that I barely talk to, and it's because I am a gay Black African-American male. And we barely talk. We do talk, but we barely talk. But I love myself enough to know that it's okay. I don't necessarily have to have that conversation with her. I don't necessarily have to have her in my life like that. But I think that sometimes it's difficult for people to understand, but you have to be able to love yourself enough to be able to say if somebody decides to walk out of my life, that's their loss, not my loss.
I know, that's right. You better preach. Call the word right there.
Yeah, listen, it takes a minute to get there. And it's not something you get through overnight. It takes a minute. But I think once you get there, you're able to see clearly and you're able to walk away knowing that, hey, I'm going to be okay. No matter if you love me, you don't love me. I appreciate it if you do. I love you back if you love me. But if you decide not to love me, I'm okay. Whether it's family, whether it's friends, whether it's relationships, whatever it may be. But I think that comes within years of growing and really finding out who you are as a person.
I'm glad you brought up your situation with your sister, because that leads me to a question I was wanting to ask you, but I was kind of skirting around because I didn't want to impose. But there seems to be an issue with, especially, communities of color, not being as accepting to the LGBT community, especially the Black community.
Right.
What would you say is the cure, or the first step even, for the Black community to be more accepting?
The first step is, it deals with home. It deals within the family. It deals with parents and children. I have a cousin who I got married a few years ago, and my nieces or my little cousins were actually in my wedding. They were my flower girls. But it took my cousin teaching them as children to know that love is love, no matter if it's a man and a man, a woman and a woman, whatever it may be. I think it starts at home. If you don't teach hatred or you don't teach bigotry, people don't learn that. Children learn what they see and they imitate what they see. So it starts at our home. If we teach our children how to love regardless, or even teaching men, you're taught that we're not supposed to cry. We're supposed to, be strong, and your mom will tell you, oh, you better not cry, you better not cry. Well, why? Why can't he cry? Like, it starts at home. And if we learn that now and teach our children, hey, it's okay for a man to cry. It's okay for a man and a man to be together. It's okay for a woman and a woman to be together. It's just love. And it should have no colors. It should have no boundaries on, what it is.
I love that. Yeah, it does. It definitely does start at home. So with your career, it's just from People Magazine to running your own magazine and all these great accomplishments, what's next for you?
I'm going to conquer LA.
Hey.
I'm going to conquer LA. I've met some amazing people in this city, and some people are really standing by me right now that I think is giving me an opportunity to really show what I can do. I feel like people are, I feel like this is an opportunity for me to really just kind of do something amazing. So that's next for me. I'm launching a store in a couple weeks in Atlanta. We have a physical location for my makeup and cosmetics line and clothing store. So we have that. Kontrol is getting ready to celebrate 8 years this month. A lot of great things.
And even more great things are going to
Yes,
happen.
most definitely.
Yes. And I just thank you for talking to me. I appreciate it.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I've enjoyed it.
Thank you.
Thank you.